right, Chris, you talked leading up to the start of conference that this is maybe the most balanced, in a good way, high-level teams in the Big Sky, and we saw that during the non-conference, a lot of good wins. And then it's really proven to be that way through the first 2 weekends. No team with more than 7 points 2 weekends in, no team with fewer than 3. So still a bottleneck with only 2 weeks of, 3 weeks of matches to go. But it's tight, and you're right in the mix. You started with 3 or 4 on the road. Now you have 3 or 4 at home, which puts you in a better position. But where you are, what you've seen from the league, and what you have, the advantages, opportunities that you have going forward now with 3 straight home matches.
Yeah, league is crazy. As predicted, it was going to be tight, and it is. I feel like the team is bottom right now could win a game and all of a sudden skyrocket into 3rd or 4th. So it's wild how competitive it is. Immensely stressful, but immensely fun at the same time. Every game matters more than it's mattered before. And to have 3 games at home as opposed to playing NAU on the road, Eastern on the road, Idaho on the road, all big games for us, all rivalry games, and to have to do it at their place and finally get to come home and play in front of our own fans it's exciting.
I feel like there were sequences I remember last year for sure where there was like, a couple draws in the mix there, and then you kind of pick it up towards the end before the tournament. Like, I guess how would you kind of evaluate a couple games like that where, you're going on the road, as you mentioned, there's different challenges you're also dealing with as well? Yeah,
biggest thing is not dropping points in terms of losses, right? You don't want to, every game, if you can be picking up points, you're moving closer to playoffs. So any way to get to the NCAA tournament is through playoffs. So goal number 1 isn't winning the title, it's get into a playoff spot. And once you're there, start competing for everything else beyond it. But the fact that we went on the road, still performed well, just didn't get the wins. It's frustrating in a way, but at the same time, we're picking up points. We're not losing games. That's the most important piece.
I guess similar question for you, Chloe, as well. Just like from the player's perspective, you obviously want to win, you want to score a bunch of goals, but when you are kind of having some dogfights, but you do walk away with some points, like how do you maybe view the road trip as well?
Yeah, I think winning on the road is just that much harder. And so like Chris said, like tying sucks, but it's way better than a loss, in my opinion. Going home on a bus after a tie is a completely different vibe than losing. In those 2 games, they were both just brutal battles, and it makes us play differently when they're like forcing us to play differently. And we try to play like ourselves, and sometimes that just happens to be a tie if things don't go our way, go in the back of the goal. So we're happy with it. We got a point, like Chris said, working our way towards the NCAA tournament. That's our overall goal. So, yeah.
When you look at the game on Thursday specifically, obviously with Weaver coming in the season, they're having the kind of the festivities around with homecoming. Just how exciting is the kind of the game and the energy, knowing that all 3 sports are home, it's homecoming, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I think our team is thrilled to be back home after some crazy travel adventures, but also just playing in front of our fans. Like you said, there's going to be a bunch of people in town. It's going to be a great game. We're with our whole team. We miss a lot of people when we're on the road, and so having that environment and being all back together and just celebrating that and leading up to senior night, senior day, it's exciting. We're thrilled.
Same question for you, Chris. I mean, just obviously your excitement to have such a big game this week, right? It feels it's like a little bit different. So your excitement for that, and I guess 2-part question, just what's kind of standing out about Weaver? Like, why have they been so dominant this year?
Yeah, really excited to be home, especially playing Weaver around homecoming, and then Idaho State as well, just to close out homecoming on the back end. I think it's great. A wonderful time to be playing them with the amount of community support that's going to be in town as well. In terms of what stands out about Weaver is when they made the coaching change and brought Kyle in, I thought that's just been a breath of fresh air for that program. The athleticism, the talent has been there. It's just been rejuvenated right now. The couple transfers they added are extremely dangerous and athletic. And I think it's going to be one of the best games we've played all year. It's going to be quite a matchup, and cannot wait for it.
Coach, given that your team was eliminated last year from penalty kicks in overtime, do you think it would be beneficial for, instead of just calling it a tie, to have a penalty kick period? I'm curious from the player's perspective too, but Chris, you can start.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? I've thought about proposing this to the NCAA of like, if the game ends a tie, why not have a shootout? And the team who wins the shootout gets 2 points, and the team that lost still gets the 1 point, right? We could do that, and that way everybody gets to practice penalty kicks year round. And so I'd be open to it, but I don't think anybody in the country is. So it's just you and I.
And then just from the player's perspective of that question?
Yeah, I wish we could do that. Honestly, it was really frustrating last year when people will practice them and be confident at practice, and then you go into this game where it really matters, like you miss it, you're out, and nobody wants to step up. And it's like, come on, like you did this at practice the other day. And so we're starting early. We're going to get as many people as possible, hopefully up to 11 that are willing and confident in that moment. And we're going to make it as realistic as we can throughout practice, because there's really no other way to do it. Can't change anything. So just being confident going into that, starting early. Yeah.
And then Chloe, just for you, just can you kind of describe the state of the offense right now and how big it is that you guys are that you guys are coming home?
Yeah. Our forward unit is working super well together. We're super grateful for Coach Ash for setting up sessions. We're working really well together. Our forward unit is super coachable, I would say. And we all listen to each other. We're connecting. No one's being selfish. I feel like we're all trying to get assists in. We're all trying to score, working with the midfield well. So it's super exciting to come home. And then scoring in front of our fans is even more exciting, celebrating with the fans. Personally, I love to do that. So, looking forward to it.
Coach, as the weather turns, I know like in football, they'll say you have to be able to run the football when it gets colder. I think it's supposed to be 70 and perfect Thursday, and then it might be the rainy on Sunday. Maybe opposite weather on Sunday. So does it change as we get a little bit colder and the weather gets all over the place? How much does that change as far as game planning for each week?
Yeah, interesting question, right? It really depends on the surface, right? How hard is the ground? How well can you grip into it with the studs? How well can you move off of it? And then how quickly is the ball running off of it? Especially if you got worms that pop out of the soil, for instance, they're going to make these little micro bumps and the ball's going to move completely differently than if it's a soft ground. And so, you've got to prepare for those things, but we train on it all the time and we're used to it. So, the biggest change, the thing that has to be managed, I think, by coaches is how warm are the players on the sideline so that they can perform when they're subbed on. Because if you're not taking care of their bodies there, by the time they warm up, it's about 5 minutes and you've just had a player less on the field at that time.
Chloe, what about for you? 70 and sunny on Thursday, but 44 maybe rain on Sunday. I guess just thoughts on you're gonna have two games and they might be completely different.
Yeah, I think weather can play a huge part in a game. For example, NAU, the field was so slippery and bumpy, but you have to remember the other team is dealing with the exact same thing. And so just having that mindset of if I lose the ball, win it back, they're going to lose it too. The field could be uneven, it can be slippery, but it's the same game for everybody. And so just being willing to win it back and to try things. It can suck, but it's whatever. I'm excited to play in it. Slide tackling's more fun in the rain, so.
So is celebrating.
Yeah, so is celebrating.
And Coach, you mentioned the last few games and a couple of them being rivalry games, and we just talked to volleyball with having MSU. What's it like not having that MSU rivalry?
It sucks. Yep.
But counter to that, does it help being the only D1 soccer team in the state as far as recruiting? But overall, how would you describe it?
Yeah, I definitely think it helps not having a rival when it comes to recruiting. That makes it a lot easier, but it's not fun knowing that, volleyball get to play them this weekend, football get to play them at the end of the year. I have those dates circled on my calendar, and it's not my sport, and it's just I wish we had it. There's something brewing behind the scenes of setting up a rivalry with a different Big Sky school right now that have reached out to us of, let's have a trophy design and go at this thing every single year. And I think that news will come out at the end of the year, and that'll be pretty fun because you don't see that in women's soccer. I don't think there's a single team in the Big Sky, Joel, you can correct me if you know, that there's a rivalry game and they play for something. So we would be the first ones to set this up with the other school, and it would make everything even more entertaining.
Kind of along the same lines for you, and not really I'm sure you talk to all the other student athletes and they get so up for the Brawl of the Wild and that, and not having that. What's that like for you?
Yeah, well, I actually got to experience that my first 2 years of college at UW. We had the Apple Cup, and so we would play Wazoo, and that was the biggest game of the year every year, and it just brings a whole nother level of emotion into it, and so I think that would be an amazing idea for the Big Sky to incorporate somehow. It just makes it more intense, more fun to win, harder to lose, but I think that would be a great idea. Get more fans to come out and watch from both sides.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you guys.
Thank you.
Can you see the huge bug on you?
No.